Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nintendo Boys Powered Podcast. I'm your host, Donovan, joined by absolutely nobody except my existence. Isn't that fun? And welcome to the 10th episode of the Nintendo Boys Power Podcast. Yay, we made it this far. And well, being the 10th episode, we have a couple of topics to talk about. The topics we'll be covering today are the lack of directs, the PlayStation 5, the next generation Xbox, and Nintendo's position in the 9th generation of video games. Let's start off with the lack of Nintendo Directs. So this has been the longest drought of any Nintendo Direct gap. We've been probably over 100 days since the last Nintendo Direct. Probably almost half a year ever since the last Nintendo Direct. Yes, we had some mini directs. We have game-specific directs, to be exact. We had Pokemon and Animal Crossing, and if you want to include Smash Bros, you can. But, yeah, lots of Nintendo fans have been speculating on why there's no Nintendo Direct and what could be in another Nintendo Direct. I have been very excited for a Nintendo Direct, and I've been waiting and waiting for so long for just a general Direct. Do you know why we need a general Nintendo Direct? It's because we just need to know what Nintendo is up to for this year in 2020. 2020 for Nintendo has been very sucky. There has been nothing announced. All we really got was Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Animal Crossing, which Animal Crossing is really big. That's probably the only big thing we know for 2020. But then, we have nothing else. We just need to know what Nintendo is up to. Recently, there has been rumors of a new Paper Mario, and a new Metroid game to be announced for another Nintendo Direct. And you know me, guys, I love Metroid so much. I've played the first 3 games, and I just absolutely love them all. And the feeling of excitement and joy, knowing that there is another Metroid game in the works, and it could be for another Nintendo Direct, and the feeling when it is announced, and it's true, and it's coming, that's the joy of a Nintendo Direct. We just need these games. We need to know what Nintendo is up to this year. The excitement and hype around Nintendo Directs is just so much better than Sony's State of Play and Xbox's, I don't even know what it's called, Inside Xbox, yeah. No one ever talks about those. I have some PlayStation friends at my school, and they never talk about State of Play. I have Xbox friends at my school, and they're like, what the heck is Inside Xbox again? But my Nintendo friends at school always talk about the Nintendo Directs. The Nintendo Directs are so important. They inspired State of Play and Inside Xbox. Right now, without the knowledge of even a Direct even coming, it's just worrying all of us. It's just worrying all of these Nintendo fans on our favorite game company on, are they releasing anything? What is happening this year? It's getting us all worried about them. Now, why could Nintendo be doing this? Well, simply, maybe they're just, what if they have nothing for this year? I don't want them to have nothing, but there is like a slight possibility of them not having anything, and please don't. They have to have something. Breath of the Wild 2? Come on. Or maybe they're just saving a Direct for E3. They're just waiting for all of this time for E3, maybe to hype up E3 more, since PlayStation isn't there and, well, E3 is kind of dying. Maybe Nintendo could be doing that. Or, again, we can go to the possibility that Nintendo just doesn't have anything. Or, why could Nintendo be doing this? I just don't know. And next up, we have announcements we need for the Nintendo Direct. Like we already talked about Metroid. There will be rumors have been speculating that it is a remake or either a sequel to Metroid 4, a 2D side-scrolling Metroid. But there is also talks of Mario Kart 9, which, come on, it's not happening. At least I don't see it happening because Mario Kart 8 is just so successful. It keeps selling so many units. It's probably the best-selling Switch game right now. It's just one of those many Nintendo evergreen titles that keeps printing money every single year. Mario Kart 8 is a Wii U port, and it's still selling. So Nintendo has no need to make a Mario Kart 9. Now, there is another possibility of Breath of the Wild 2 or Breath of the Wild sequel. That is a possibility. Or maybe they're just working on it and it'll come out next year. But yeah, there's still a possibility Breath of the Wild 2 can still come this year in a direct because, well, Breath of the Wild 2 is reusing the same engine from Breath of the Wild. And just like Majora's Mask, they were able to finish Majora's Mask in a year. I don't think Nintendo will be in such a time constraint for this game, but there is still a possibility they could be releasing Breath of the Wild 2 this year. Now, the other game could be Paper Mario. A return to form for Paper Mario. A return to form like Paper Mario the original and Paper Mario the 1,000-Year Door that was released on the GameCube. A return to form. Not like Sticker Star, not like frickin' Color Splash, oh god, but a return to form that will make fans happy. I've been hearing lots of drama in the Paper Mario community, stuff like Arlo's hashtag remaster the 1,000-Year Door. I hear you, Paper Mario fans. You guys really want this return to form like Paper Mario the 1,000-Year Door, and Nintendo loves to listen to sales numbers, and Color Splash is I heard, the worst performing Paper Mario game, so maybe, yeah, they'll just return to form, get us, my Apple Pencil fell, get us a good quality Paper Mario game. Next topic we need to talk about is the PlayStation 5 and the lack of news from the PlayStation 5 because, well, just like I said, there hasn't been much news for the PlayStation 5. Sony hasn't been announcing anything lately, just tiny little details, but nothing else. Not like Xbox, which we will get to soon. There has been rumors and some leaks about the PlayStation 5, the PS5, that it will be very similar in power to the Xbox. Maybe it will be more powerful, maybe it will be less powerful, but we are unsure because of Sony's lack of news about the PS5. Maybe they're just waiting on Xbox to announce all of their stuff, which they already have, which we will get to in a bit. Or maybe they're just going back and forth on the components they need for the PS5 so they can make the price more consumer friendly, as these consoles are going to be super powerful beasts. And super powerful, gaming PCs go for, I think, $1,000. These consoles, usually consoles are around, $300 to, $600. If Sony and Microsoft are trying to make these consoles super powerful like gaming PCs, they are still consoles, and they need to keep it at the regular $300 to $600 price. So maybe Sony is just going back and forth on what components they need to keep the price at $300 through $600. And now the games for the PS5, I am not, you know me, I'm a Nintendo dude. I do not catch up too much. I do catch up with some news, but I don't keep up with all the news about PlayStation. And so I'm sorry about my lack of knowledge for the games of the PS5, but the one game that I do know that is confirmed for the PS5 is that one game at the Game Awards. I think it's called Godfall. Yeah, it looks cool. Another CGI trailer, no gameplay. Don't even know what it is about. Yeah, looks like a game. Pretty cool. Nothing too fancy about it. Moving on, PlayStation's position in the ninth generation. Brain fart. PlayStation's position in the ninth generation of video games. PlayStation has a really good stand right now in the ninth generation. They won the 8th generation by a landslide. The Wii U failed. Xbox couldn't get their act together. Like, remember the time at E3 2013 where Microsoft was all like, oh, you need to keep your system always connected to the internet at all times, or you can't share video games or something. I don't know the specifics, but PlayStation made a video where they were like, this is how you share games or something, and they just handed each other a PlayStation game, and that was it. That was like the mic drop of the 8th generation. Sony won from that point. Microsoft just went downhill. But then they started to recover, But we'll get to that. I threw my Apple Pencil again. I'm sorry for that loud noise for you listeners. So, Xbox is coming back, but we'll get to that later. And now PlayStation's position in the 9th gen is looking very bright. However, they could get cocky like how they did for the PS3 and maybe price the PS5 at such a high price that people won't buy it anymore, and maybe they'll just stuff the PlayStation 5 with unnecessary features that will keep up raising the price and people won't buy it. They could get cocky and be like, oh, we're PlayStation. Everyone knows PlayStation. They're always going to buy our products. But then you have to recall what happened to the PS3, the only PlayStation console that didn't reach the 100 million mark, which is really good for PlayStation, as most of the time, they always reach the 100 million mark. So, probably with the PlayStation 5, if they do the same thing they've been doing for the PlayStation 4 and don't screw anything up, don't pull a Nintendo PlayStation, they could win the 9th generation of video games again, or just win this generation once again. Now moving on to Xbox. The Xbox Series X has been announced, as we all know, at the Game Awards. Now, I do know, 2 games for the Series X. I know Halo Infinite. Yeah, it looks like another Halo game. There was a trailer of a guy talking. Very interesting. And there's Hellblade 2, which we didn't get gameplay technically. We technically didn't get any gameplay of the game, but we got, I think, a scene. Well, obviously it's a scene, but it is all rendered in-engine, and the game just looks absolutely amazing, and I've heard good things about the first Hellblade game, and the second Hellblade game looks absolutely fantastic. Looks like a movie instead of a video game. It looks absolutely insane. Now, that's all the games I know, but the other thing about Xbox's games is that they don't have enough exclusives. We'll get to that later in their position in the 9th gen, but they don't have enough exclusives for the Xbox brand to call their own. But yeah, let's move on to the features and specs of the Xbox Series X. Now, I only have 5 features that I have on my list right now. I didn't take the time to get them all because I'm too lazy, Let's start off with 12 teraflops, which is not too big of an improvement over the 1x, but it is an improvement. I don't really know what teraflops is for. I am a tech guy, but I'm not too much of a tech guy. I'm not a tech geek. Variable rate shading, again, I don't know what that is, but has shading in the word, so improved shading, I guess. Hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing. I've heard of ray tracing. I know what it is, but I don't know enough of what it is. And I heard that the PS5 also has this feature, so yeah, good for them. Quick resume for multiple games. Now, I think I know what this feature is. It's like, for the NES and SNES, Nintendo Switch Online apps, or the NES and SNES Classic Editions, they have the suspend feature where you can just suspend the game at any point and then you can move on to another game. And then if you don't want to play that game and if you want to come back to the game you suspended from, you can just open up your saved files and then click on your suspended file and then open it up. You're right at that point. No need to go through the title screen over again. No, you're just straight there if you did the suspend feature. So that's cool. Really quick way for people to start playing their games. And smart delivery. I think I know what this is. I don't know the specifics of it, but for example, like a game, Cyberpunk 2077, if you buy the game on Xbox One, and you have an Xbox Series X, and if you want to play Cyberpunk on the Xbox Series X, you don't need to buy another copy specifically for the Series X. No, you can just use Smart Delivery, and since you already have the Xbox One version, you can immediately play it on the Xbox Series X. No more buying another version of the game for that console. No. With Smart Delivery, if you have one version of the game, you have the versions for all consoles, which is pretty neat. Now, Xbox position in the 9th generation of video games. Xbox is going to have a strange position. You see, going back to the games, Xbox does not have enough exclusives. That's what really mostly hurt them this generation. It's because they didn't have enough games to call them their own. They had Halo, which is an exclusive to Xbox, but it was also, from what I heard, the Master Chief Collection was also available on Steam. Sure, it's convenient. Xbox is Microsoft is making it more of a brand name. Xbox is going for more the consumer-friendly, convenient route, where, sure, yeah, Master Chief Collection is on Steam and Xbox, but Microsoft is hurting themselves because since it's no longer exclusive to Xbox, which is what would drive the Xbox sales. Xbox also has their game service, Game Pass, which I heard is an amazing service. So Xbox does have the upper hand on services, as well as Project xCloud, Xbox's cloud streaming service for Xbox games. So they do have that. But we're talking about consoles right here, and Xbox, for the Xbox One, it sold they stopped sharing their unit numbers, but media outlets have projected that right now in 2020, the Xbox One has sold roughly around 50 million. This is not accurate because this is not official numbers from Microsoft, because they stopped showing their sales numbers for the Xbox. So media outlets have guessed, well, not really guessed, they just took a rough estimate of the information they had, and went around for 50 million Xbox One units sold. Now, in the Nintendo Switch, in like probably half the time the Xbox One was out on the market, has already outsold the Xbox One. So this shows how powerful Xbox's brand is. Just Xbox hasn't really had a presence outside of the US. Like, Japan only has like 100,000 Xboxes. I'm not kidding. And Nintendo has much more brand recognition than Xbox, which sort of puts Xbox in last place right now, in the position right now. But they do have many studios. They've been buying up lots of great game studios, and probably they are making exclusives for the Xbox right now. So that is potential for the Xbox. But if Microsoft keeps slacking on the exclusives and appealing to like other regions of the world, they might just be in last place. Or if they keep up the exclusives, keep up the consumer friendliness, and keep up their worldwide presence, they might have an upper hand against Nintendo or maybe even PlayStation. Now, moving on to our last and final topic, Nintendo's position in the ninth generation of consoles or video games, whatever. Now, how will they handle it? I think Nintendo will handle it just fine. They'll handle it how they are handling it right now, releasing brand new games, if they have any, but I don't know. Releasing brand new games for consumers to buy, so it keeps up their relevancy in the ninth generation of consoles. They might be releasing brand new models like a Switch Pro to keep up with the extremely powerful hardware of the PS5 and next generation Xbox. Because developers, they can port their games to the Switch all they want. They just need to put in effort. Maybe it'll be too hard to port the Switch. They can port it to Switch, but it might be too hard. With the Switch Pro, it might be easier on the developers to port their 9th gen games onto Nintendo's 3-year-old tablet with like a probably 5-year-old processor. So, Nintendo could be making a Switch Pro. If not, I really feel like it will hurt Nintendo. Because third-party support has never been this much ever since probably, I'd say, the Super Nintendo. Sure, the Wii had third-party support, but there was a lot of shovelware. There was a lot of third-party support on the Super Nintendo where everyone was serious. And now with the Nintendo Switch, everyone is serious again. And there is a lot of third-party support. And if they start losing third-party support, it might hurt Nintendo. Because even though the best-selling games on the Switch are probably Nintendo first-party games, there is still a market of people who don't like Nintendo games and might like these AAA third-party games. They can buy a Switch to play these games anywhere they want. And if they start losing these developers, it might hurt them. Or Nintendo can go Switch Pro, go developer and consumer friendly, and they'll do just fine. Some Switch owners, I think a lot of them, use the Switch as like a secondary console. Like, they have a PlayStation, and they have a Nintendo Switch to play games wherever they want to. Now, Nintendo's future in the 9th generation, I think they'll just do fine. If they release a Switch Pro, they're going to do fine. Even if they don't, they might get hurt by not releasing a Switch Pro, but they'll still do fine as the other video game developer in the console wars. So, if Nintendo keeps releasing brand new, innovative, groundbreaking titles such as Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, they'll just do fine. And if they keep on releasing new hardware like the 3DS, I don't know, new Nintendo Switch Pro XL, LL, Funky Edition. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever they call it, they'll just do fine. That's all from the Nintendo Boys Power Podcast. I am your host, Donovan. If you want to join the Nintendo Boys Power Podcast, make sure to click the link in the description for the Discord server. There, we go to the Power Podcast station and we talk together on the podcast. That is where we get our guests. But if you are a regular listener or a brand new listener, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, give some constructive criticism in the comments, and subscribe and click the bell to receive more notifications on the Power Podcast and some of my regular videos if you are interested. That's all from me, Donovan, level 1 of 64, out. Peace.